All right. Hey guys, it is Sunday. My camera adjusted here. Okay. Okay, awesome. So it is Sunday night, and if you are just jumping on here, go ahead and make sure you hit the thumbs up button so I know you're here. I'm going to, while you're all coming in, I'm going to jump over to Facebook, just make one more announcement that we are going live, or that we are live. And yeah, so I think today's topic is very timely. I think it's super important that we talk about this and what's happening with all of these chemicals and how it's going to affect us, you, regardless of how close or how far you live from East Palestine, Ohio. I am in Michigan, so I'm just north of Ohio. And, but, I think a lot of people, it's easy to kind of stick your head in the sand and not pay attention. And it's so important. We've got to really do have to pay attention to this because this is really, there's a lot of chemicals out there, and this is not going to be the end of it. So let's see. Okay. I will be back over to YouTube in a second. One more page to post up to here. And then we can get rolling. So let's see. Okay. Okay, there we go. Got everybody over there. Okay, all right. Here, hey, Sarah Smiles. Hey, Ken, nice to see you. Hey, Make It by Mandy. Long time no see. Yeah, I'm sorry I missed you guys over on Food Forest. I was looking, I was tuning in, and then I got running around getting ready for this. So hopefully I'll catch you guys on the next one. And appreciate y'all being here. So so tell me if you're coming in here. Hey, early bird special. Nice to see you. Howie Raid. Yes. 6 cents Amelia. I'm not as fancy as you guys. I don't know how to put your comments up on the screen. I'll figure that out. I'm not using StreamYard either. I'm just going straight through the YouTube studio. But so you're in West Mass, and you have some unknown, not pollen sticky stuff that covered the cars and anything out 2 weeks ago. Yeah, crazy. I didn't touch it. I wouldn't touch it either. Howie Raid, you guys are amazing. By the way, I have subscribed to all of your channels. So anybody here on the Howie Raid, I've already gone over and shown you some love, and I appreciate you coming over here too. So. Hey, Howie, I'm sorry I missed your video on the juicing. I was looking forward to that. And so I'll go back and watch it afterwards. So if you're dropping in here, first of all, hit that thumbs up button, and then tell me where you're from. Where exactly are you from? Because today we're going to talk about the train derailment in East Palestine. And I appreciate Wild Edibles, and I appreciate all your comments too. So she says your advice has been greatly appreciated, and I'm so glad that you find value. That's really the that's the goal, I think, for all of us, is just trying to get messages out to help impact and inspire people. So Sarah Smiles says our local government said avoid the outside for a day and wear a mask and gloves if you're washing it off your car. Isn't that crazy? Howie says your sunshine. Thank you. Thank you so much, Gemma's Journey Grace. I appreciate it. I think I subscribed to your channel already. I'm going to go check that real quick. Yes, I'm already subscribed. I love your content, by the way. So I think that's really important work you're doing over there with autism. So, oh gosh, Jerry Fortune, you're in Ohio. So how far are you from the train derailment? Yeah, let me know where you're at there. So here, I just want to bring up a couple of interesting pieces. There's so much that we could go into on this. problem that we're going to run into is that we want to make sure that my goal of today is to give you some really good tips on nutrients that you can be taking to help counteract a lot of the chemicals. So, okay, so you're about 4 hours away. I wonder how far I am. Let me map that. And let's see. Okay, so early bird special. So you're in Ontario. Okay, so you're not far from us then, right? Let's see, East. I mean, I'm in the Detroit area, so I'm just across the way from Ontario. I don't know how big Ontario is. I know it's not that big. So it's pretty concerning. East. So I'm 100. Yeah. So I'm 3 hours and 43 minutes from there as well. So a couple of things, when this happened, if you're following any of it, and I really, oftentimes I will say, gosh, for us to be healthy, ultimately, we cannot watch the news. We really need to stay off the media and stay off the negative press. And vinyl chloride and a whole bunch of other stuff. Clouds have been darker than normal. Interesting. So we have to pay attention to this. So I have been watching the news. I'm following this guy on TikTok. I don't know if any of you are on TikTok, but he is he's like an engineer, a rocket scientist of some sort. His name is Nick Drum, Nickdrom. He's breaking everything down bit by bit. So I definitely want to make sure that you have tools to counteract the chemicals, because here's why. So first of all, this whole thing happens and they evacuated everybody within a 1 mile radius, right? So there were there 2 train derailments in Ohio. I know there were 2 within like a week, but I don't know if I can't remember if they were both in Ohio. And I don't know if been so focused on this one in East Palestine that I don't know if there was any chemicals on the other one as well. Probably need to look that up. So they evacuated everybody within a 1 mile radius. That's it. So you have all of these train cars. I forget how many of them that actually they had to do this controlled release because they were afraid of them exploding. Well, they needed to evacuate more people and move them out of the area completely. So apparently there's reports that people were still like walking around town, or they were like holed up in like community centers, and they were still right there in the area when they were doing this controlled release. And there's videos of people who have videoed the sky, and that, the media was trying to say they were storm clouds during the controlled release, and they were not storm clouds. It was middle of the day, big black clouds. I mean, there's so much being hidden here. Okay, so then they evacuate everybody, and then they say, we've tested the air and water. Literally, a day later? And they're like, we tested the air and water and everything's fine. Yet you can still smell it in the air. And really, is it fine? These chemicals. So, and this is just some of the chemicals here. So let me see. Okay. So these are these were all the chemicals that I could find. Apparently this is what the EPA had released. So vinyl chloride, nitrous oxide, formaldehyde, chlorine, mercury, nitrous dioxide, and then other forms of plastics and aldehydes. And then there was this phosgene, PHOSGENE, and phosgene was used in World War II as a and they mixed it with they mix it with the vinyl chloride. They mixed it with another one of the hazardous chemicals that was on that train as a bioweapon. And so it's heavy, and so it sink down, and so it would go down into the so the soldiers that were on the ground, it would go right into the trenches, and it would kill them. So apparently, as I started to look into that a little bit more, apparently if you can smell phosgene, which it smells has like a fresh mowed grass kind of a scent, is that once you smell it, you're already poisoned from it. That is how highly toxic it is. So you can't smell it and have it be like, let's say you walk through the perfume aisle at the mall and you're smelling that. That's highly toxic as well. But it's not going to kill you. but slowly, but it's a whole nother podcast anyway. But the point is that once, like, it's so highly toxic that once you actually smell it, it's already going in and doing the damage in your lungs, in your mucous membranes, and in your brain. So, in your eyes as well. So it's Sixth Sense Immunity. It says vinyl chloride irritates the eyes, mucous membranes, and respiratory tract. Escaping compressed gas or liquid can cause frostbite or irritation of the skin and eyes. Chronic exposure can cause. Yeah. And so when they were doing this controlled burn also of these chemicals, they also, some of them change, they change substance, right? So when they're released from a liquid, because they're being trucked or trained, I don't know, shipped, how, what am I saying? They were being moved in liquid form. So then when they go into gaseous state, they can change formats and they can even become more highly toxic. So, and then let's see, no longer burn Yankee candles, perfume deodorant sprays, can't even handle fabric softener. And this is the other thing too, is like, that goes along with like Glade plugins. And I've got, there's so much information. I'll be on here for like, hopefully not hours, but I want to get you as much of this compressed, and then we can unpack it in other videos. So yeah, Glade plugins. And then people will like put them all over their house, like pregnant women, babies, the what's happening with the exposure to humans with these chemicals to begin with through plastics is horrific. And I'm going to reveal that to you here shortly. So we're already exposed to all of these plastics in the form of everything. It's in our food, it's in our water. The reason it's in our food, if you think about like, I guess I'll use milk, like if, factory farming milk, the milk goes from the cow through a plastic tube, or anything that gets processed, if something's getting piped, like let's say it's tomato sauce, that it might get piped through some plastic tubing into a glass jar. Obviously water, things like that. So a lot of that, a lot of our food has these phthalates in them, is what they're called, PTHALATES, phthalates. And phthalates are highly toxic chemicals. We have, there's the persistent organic pollutants. That's this classification, the PFASs, which are also, that's another like big chemical term for over 10,000 toxic substances that cause damage and cancer to us. And the reason they're so highly dangerous is, number one, we've already had massive exposure to them. And I'll tell you why in a second. And then number two, the reason, the one term, persistent organic pollutants, is because they are persistent. They don't go away. They get stored in the fat tissue. They get stored in your fat cells. They get stored in the fat cells of animals. And then we eat the animals, and then we eat more of those toxins. So even if it's organic, now let's talk about that for a second. So let me see, Sixth Sense Immunity said permanent liver injury and liver cancer, neurological, behavioral symptoms, and changes to the skin and bones of the hand. Some of the rail tankers contain vinyl chloride, which is already at risk. Let's see. And then Sarah Smile says, it's a blessing in disguise. I'd rather be more aware of what I breathe in, or my dogs, essential oils only. Some friends think I'm overdoing the scent-free thing. However, I have to be nervous system issues. The scent-free thing is a thing. It's an absolute thing. And people, they don't pay attention to it yet. I wonder, Sarah Smiles, is your friends who are thinking you're over the top with your scent-free thing, do they have allergies? Do they have asthma? Do they suffer from headaches? Do they have digestive disorders? Do they have skin issues? Do they have anxiety, depression? Do their kids have anxiety? Do their kids have learning issues? That's where you kind of want to go, maybe, friend, you should really consider this if you have all of these health problems. And it's not overdoing it at all. It's paying attention, especially when you have any kind of health issue, autoimmune issue, especially nervous system issues. Sometimes getting the scents out, and that's when I said we could talk about this for hours, going through perfume aisle at the mall, is that's just as bad. Like, things might smell pretty, that doesn't mean that they're good for you. They're still very highly toxic. That is all phthalates in those perfumes. And then let's see, smelling or topical. Yeah. Okay. So there's this woman. I just saw her on Joe Rogan, and let me grab her name for you. Her name is Dr. Shanna Swan. I'm going to drop her. Let's see. I got all my tabs open to remind me of where I need to go with you guys. She's been doing research on plastics, phthalates, and fertility rates for years. Probably the dog just came in, so you know how that goes. Like, where is she? Let me just go here. Let me just look her up again. Dr. Shanna Swan. Okay. And she just wrote a book, and her book is called Countdown. And she's done multiple studies. She's a PhD epidemiologist, reproductive epidemiologist, professor of environmental medicine and public health at the ICAHN School, ICAHN School of Medicine at Mount Sinai, New York. Award-winning scientist. Her work continues to impact the environmental exposures, including chemicals, phthalates, bisphenol A, on men and women's reproductive and neurodevelopment of children. So fascinating to hear her. And here's just a couple of stats from what she's found out. Worldwide fertility, and this is all, her studies are all related to phthalates and reproductive health. Worldwide fertility has dropped more than 50% over the past 50 years. Think about that. Like, crazy. 50% of drop just due to phthalates and these persistent organic pollutants. Sperm counts in men. A man today has only half of the number of sperm his grandfather had. When she did that study, I think she started off as like 99 million, and now it's like 40 million. So sperm rates are going down, and fertility rates are dropping. So it's affecting men and women. It's affecting babies in utero. This is the scary part, is that not like, oh, this isn't scary. So what happens is that there's exposure to the phthalates, and then especially so men who have exposure. So this is really critical we think about the timing of the train and all the chemicals and where they're going to travel, so that if a man is exposed within, I think it's like 60 to 90 days before he impregnates a woman, he has about, I think it's like a 40% chance of decreased fertility. It's like a 40% decreased fertility, something like that. But then if it's outside of that window, it can improve. But then what it does is it affects how the baby grows. So what she's found is that not only have sperm rates gone down, but genitalia is, so the boys' genitalia are smaller with less sperm counts, and the girls are more masculine. So the boys are becoming more feminine and the girls are becoming more masculine. So there's more testosterone in the girls, less testosterone in the boys. I'm not sure exactly where that is coming from, but that's part of that decrease in fertility. And so we have a massive problem, which is why we also have to pay attention to what's happening here. Because if she's done all these studies on fertility and phthalates and plastics, most of these chemicals are used in the production of plastics, used in pesticides. And so these are on a massive scale. So when they did this controlled release, it's going up in the air, and you cannot tell me that 1 mile radius was, that was enough. Also, it's not gonna settle on crops. I mean, if you've got organic crops, even if you're trying to eat organic, you have organic crops, those organic crops are going to get affected. It's going to go in the waterways. They're trying to tell people, oh yeah, maybe you'll just want to drink bottled water, but it's okay. The water's safe. I wouldn't believe them to save my freaking life, and you have to save your freaking life. Yeah, they all have a lot of those health issues. I hope they can learn from my example. The only smells are from my 2 herbal plants on the windowsills. Yeah. And I love essential oils. I do a lot of essential oils. You grow sage and basil, natural smell that's non-toxic. Yeah. Sarah Smiles says, those plastic containers are really bad, and the pans that are coated with nonstick for sure. 6 Sensimelia, irritation, dry burning, throat, and vomiting. The 1974 ban on the use of vinyl chloride in the U.S. consumer products resulted in a reduction in possible exposures in the general population, but it's still being used. It's kind of like, so BPA, right? So you can look at I don't have any plastic around here. So you can look at a bottle and it'll say BPA free, right? If you have a water bottle. Well, what they did was they took the bisphenol A out and they put another type of phenol in there. So, which is just as bad, but they're now saying, so they'll say on the bottle, bisphenol or BPA free. So you think, I mean, this is such it's such a deception. So you think that the bottle or the container that you're purchasing, oh, it says BPA free, it must be safe. If it's still plastic, it's still plastic. So, and then things like your food, chicken wrapped in plastic, wouldn't it be great if it was just wrapped in butcher paper? I suppose if you just went to try not to buy prepackaged stuff, which I did today, and, just wasn't thinking, just bought a big pack of organic chicken breasts from Whole Foods. But I suppose if you get them out of the, you could get them out of the counter, but see, then they're going to take that wax paper. Guess what's on the wax paper? All the same things. Yeah. So all the same things. Apologies for the long-winded post cut. No, that's fine. No, I appreciate it. I appreciate the engagement, and I appreciate your insight, because what you did, 6 Cents Amelia, was you saved me from having to go to a tab, because I had a tab open that talked about all of the side effects. Now, what you posted in there, was that for the vinyl chloride or was that for the phosgene? And so then I saw I found another video of a guy, oh, no problem. Thanks, 6 Cents Amelia. So I found another article or video from a guy who did a video on phosgene exposure from 5 years ago. And I posted on his video and I was like, yeah, so what are you thinking about phosgene now? Like, I'm kind of thinking, it's always been out there, right? So we have this phosgene, and now we're suddenly aware of it, but it's been getting trucked across our world forever, right? And so, along with all of these other highly toxic chemicals. So when we're looking at, you can also go and look at a map. And so of course that's good, because a lot of these chemicals are heavy, so they're going to settle down into the earth and into the waterways, and then where are they going to go? They're going to flow. And so you can actually look at the waterways. That the guy on TikTok, he's got a really good map of all the waterways and where it's going to go, how it's going to settle, and all the waterways all over the United States. So this is not isolated to little East Palestine. It's going everywhere. And I think back years ago when anybody remember when Mount St. Helens erupted? Do you remember that? I'm trying to think when that was. I feel like I was living in California, so it was sometime between. No, it was prior to when I moved out there. I was still living here. Anyway, so when Mount St. Helens erupted, it went up so high that it got into the jet stream. Now, I don't know how these pictures they're pretty impressive when you look at where how high these gases and the clouds went. But the eruption of chemicals from Mount St. Helens went up and into the jet stream, and it traveled east. and there were reports here in the Midwest of people finding, like, I think that was that no, it was not Wild Edibles. Who said that? About seeing, was it Wild Edibles? Did you say that about what was on your car? You had a residue on your car. And so people were actually, reporting that they had residue on their vehicles. So this is it goes up. It's going to get carried by air. It's going to get into the ground. It's going to get into the groundwater. It's going to get into the soils. It's going to be on the plants. It's going to get into the feed of the animals. So those are all like the big overarching concerns for this. So I want to go through with you. I want to just talk to you too about how do you protect yourself, because this is inevitable, and the exposure is going to find you. Now, we know about this. We've seen it. We see. And they just brought a whole bunch of it right up here to Wayne County, which is 30 minutes down the road. And apparently, Romulus, Wayne County, they didn't want it here. They were trying to fight against not allowing the EPA to bring it here. But the EPA and another governing agency basically has like overarching control and says like, nope, we're bringing it to you. So 30 minutes down the road from me, they have these hazardous chemicals now. And I'm a little sketchy on the timeline. I just saw the article today that talked about, let's see if I don't know if it's coming up here or if it's already here. So let me see. But anyway, let's see, because this came out, so it's in our backyard now, right? So this came out at 5:47 yesterday. So the city of Romulus, so that's down where our airport is, like I say, just about 30 minutes south of me, and this is a press release from the Romulus Fire Department. The city of Romulus received notifications this afternoon that one or more sites owned by Republic Services, that's our big waste management company, in the Romulus and Belleville area are accepting toxic waste from the East Palestine train derailment. Director of Community Safety and Development Kevin Krause issued the following statement. The city of Romulus has been fundamentally opposed to the injection well since its inception. EPA and Eagle's another our government arm of environmental oversight. Preempt so EPA and Eagle preempt the city from the permitting process. So EPA and Eagle are like, yeah, we don't care that you don't want it. We're going to bring it, leaving the city no choice but to accept the permitting and site within our boundaries. As recent as and I don't know how they're going to store it. Like, they're not saying any of that as of yet. As recent as 2020, during the Republic purchase of the well, so now I'm like, are the tanks going in the ground into the well? Are they putting it in there as liquid? Like, who knows? So as recent as 2020, during the Republic purchase of the well, the city of Romulus went to Lansing and Eagle to address longstanding concerns over the site and its operations. The resident safety is our number one priority, and believe that this hazardous material is an Ohio issue and should stay in Ohio, which is all fine and good, but we're still going to be affected by it, right? So we can leave it in Ohio, but those chemicals have already made their way up here. Director Krause questions why this waste was being transported over 225 miles and almost 3.5 hours away to Michigan. Romulus officials will continue to work with county, state, and federal representatives to call for a coordinated disposal process that keeps this waste out of Romulus and out of Michigan. So that's what's happening. Again, I don't know if it's up here yet, but that's what they're trying to do. So let's see. So I'm glad the opportunity to meet Sarah Smiles, meet you and others. I got you now. No pressure to join my channel, which is boring. Can't be boring. Mike the Caveman says, no pressure here. I'm Wild Edible's husband. Just an extra. We want to get you a good start. Great advice worth sharing. Thank you. And yeah, Sarah Smiles, we're here to support you for sure. You guys showed me so much love, and so I want to make sure I can show the love back. It moves. The clouds are darker here. Something's gotten that far. I know. Scary. And again, you're not going to see it when it goes into the water. So Yeah. So what do we do? So here's where we have to be. I'm going to tell you a quick story and then I'll tell you what to do. When I was about 2 or 3 months pregnant, and I kept 3 mornings in a row, I got woken up by an airplane at 6 o'clock in the morning that was flying overhead. Like it sounded like it was flying circles. I'm like, what is going on? So I called the county and they said, "Oh, you live in this county?" And I said, "Yes, I do." And they said, "Oh, well, we're spraying for gypsy moths." And I was like, "Where was my notification that you're poisoning my air and the air of my unborn child?" You guys, this stuff goes on all the time, and so so as consumers, we have to really control what we're doing. So things like, like um, no Glade plugins and, being mindful of perfumes and, scents and no dryer sheets and what you're putting on your body. There's phthalates and plastics in your body care products too. Um, I'm not really bad, but you can tell we're $5 north of the Detroit border. Okay, yeah, Mike the Caveman. So, oh, did you say you guys are in Ontario, right? Is that trying to keep up with who's who in the chat. Yeah, so knowing that we can't put our heads in the sand, we have to take action into our own hands. So, I know a lot of you in this chat, a lot of you will grow your own food, or try to, eat as locally as possible. So the news, Mike the Caveman says they were telling everyone there's no problem. It'll just all go away. It's just going to blow away. Like it's going to blow away and disappear. That's not the way it works. And we cannot be lured into this deception. So, okay. So a couple of things. First of all, we cannot outrun a poor diet. So whatever you're doing, my 3 top rules of nutrition are no artificial sweeteners, flavors, and colors, period. You've got to get those toxic chemicals out and really, take a good hard look in the mirror and say, I want something better, not just for me, but for the next generation. Because in these studies that this Dr. Dr. Shauna was doing and is still doing, is that again, these chemicals are affecting the genitalia and the fertility of the offspring. So, her longest study right now is she's been following for 9 years. So she followed the moms when they were pregnant, and then she's following the babies who are now about 8 or 9 years old. And she wants to take it to a 20-year study. But she says, even in this 9 years, sperm rates are down, and then the genitalia is completely different. Hold on, I have to let the dog out. Come on, go outside. So, that may not matter to somebody if you're thinking, well, I'm not going to have kids anyway. Well, it doesn't matter. Like, we still have an earth to run, right? We still have a society to run. We still have to raise healthy people. And so the when she was being interviewed on Joe Rogan, she was saying that people have criticized her, that they're like, well, the world's overpopulated anyway. Okay, so let's just like damage babies in the it's so asinine. Like it doesn't matter what you think of the world population. We still have to, if people are going to come into this world, we want them to be healthy and functioning members of society. So Sarah Smiles says, last year we had unknown smoke coming in, and I found that a fire in Maine blew the smoke all the way to West Mass. Yeah, the smoke from the fires. Sunsets and sunrises are red. There's fire smoke coming from somewhere. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Sarah Smiles. Yeah, so the precocious puberty, it's just changing everything in kids. So we have to be super mindful of that. So so being mindful of your home chemicals, your body care products, your and then your foods. So, again, just more fruits and vegetables, keep the chemicals out. If you make don't buy things like salad dressing in a jar or in a bottle. Buy that stuff all on your own, right? And then yeah, Sarah Smile says organic garden here only. Yes. So I just bought some seeds, and so I'm gonna get my seeds started this week. I'm super excited. And so there's some nutrients though. So clean up your diet, first of all. Be super mindful of that. Don't clean with chemicals, no bleach. And you can clean everything in your house that you need to with baking soda, lemon juice, and vinegar. I use baking soda to keep a container of baking soda in both bathrooms. I use that to clean the toilets and the sinks. A little bit of white vinegar diluted in a big spray bottle with some essential oil, lemon essential oil. And that's what I use. I spray it on my floors. I have a dog. You don't want your, and even if you walk barefoot, you don't want to be picking up those toxins. So a couple of go back over to my sheet here. So there's a couple of nutrients that I want to focus on for all of these. One of them is called N-acetylcysteine. Now, NAC so NAC is really helpful for use with to help detoxify the liver, helps with kidney function, and it helps with lung function. And this particular nutrient, there's actually been studies that show that it helps with viruses and a lot of respiratory illnesses. And so you can only imagine, with everything that had been going on the past few years, 3 years now, that they were trying to take, in fact, they did for a short period of time, took N-acetylcysteine off the market. It was like, I felt like I loaded up on NAC in my office because I had all my patients on it, because it's so powerful. It actually helps your glutathione pathways, and glutathione is like the mother of all antioxidants. And antioxidants are oxidants, so oxidization, think of rust. So all of these byproducts of all of these chemical exposures, and then chemical processes in the body, there's waste products that come off of that. So we need something to mop it up. Well, those are what antioxidants will do. And so glutathione is like the mother of all of them, and it helps to make all of your other antioxidants. But, N-acetylcysteine, you can be deficient in some of the cofactors that are required for NAC to combine with to make your glutathione. And so you'll want to take your N-acetylcysteine as well as your glutathione. And those two right there are going to help tremendously with, excuse me, they'll help tremendously, like you say, with liver, with kidney, and with lung function. So, because a lot of these people are getting effects of lung. Now, if you have a medical doctor who practices functional medicine, you can get from a compounding pharmacy, which I have mold poisoning, so I did this for about a year, I got liquid form glutathione and I nebulized it. And so nebulizer is, you put the mask on and, forms a vapor, and you breathe it. So I did that about 3 to 4 days a week for about a year. It helped a little bit, but I also think I have some things going on with the liver. So I'm working to clear up my liver as well. So you want to keep your liver super clean, because all these toxins are going to come in, and between the liver and your skin, those are your skin's your primary detoxifying organ, and your liver is the second one. So, oh yeah. So Sarah Smiles. Yeah. Leave the baking soda on the sink and then scrub it. It's so good. I know. And lemon oil for the floor, Mike the Caveman. Perfect. Yeah. And thank you, Sarah. She says, Doctor, you're amazing with all this valuable information. I absolutely appreciate it. So, hoping that I can help here. So definitely be supporting your liver. there's certain nutrients that you can take. One of my, I'll show you, hold on. Okay, so this is by a company called Metagenics. This is called Ultra Clear Plus pH. I didn't come on here planning to sell anything, but I'm going to tell you this is my favorite liver product on planet Earth. And the reason is, so first of all, these are all third-party tested. They're organic. You could go to my, I'll drop a link there. Oh, I have to drop this Shauna's site as well. So this particular product, it's a powder. I do a smoothie with this, so probably 3 days a week. And what it does, the detoxification process in the liver is actually slow. There's 2 phases. Phase 1 is really fast. Phase 2 is really slow. So all these toxins are going to come dumping into your system. And phase 1 is like, okay, we can handle this. And it puts it over to phase 2. And phase 2 is like slow and lazy. I think in a previous video, I talked about, it's like your kid in the basement living in your basement playing video games. So what it does is then it stores it in fat tissues. And all of these chemicals are what are called endocrine disruptors. So your endocrine system is all your hormones. It's everything about you that functions on a daily, a minute by minute, second by second basis. So it disrupts the endocrine system in such a way that it's like your normal hormones go into they're a key, they go into a lock, they turn things on, they turn things off, they make things happen. And endocrine disruptors, the key is exactly the same. And and then they go into the lock and they just sit there and they do nothing. And so then you get this buildup because your hormones have nowhere to go. They don't know what to do. And so what they'll do is they get stored. They go into the fat tissue, they go into the breast tissue, they go into the brain. So what I love about this, I'm going to drop the link here in a second, is it is one of the only products. I to be honest with you, I don't know of any other product, but I know there's a couple more out there. I can't remember the names of them. It increases the speed of phase 2. And that's what you want. You want to increase phase 2 liver function so that you can safely get that out. Now, the other thing it does is it increases phase 3 of liver function, which is the kidneys. So we want to make sure that, we protect the kidneys. We have to protect the liver. We have to protect your whole body as we get these toxins out. So go here. No, that's not what I want to do. Okay. Go here. Okay, I'm going to drop my link here. And so it speeds up all 3 phases of detoxification. It also pulls heavy metals from the brain, which is, and there's so many heavy metals spewed in these toxins as well. Like just so much we don't know. Okay, so there's that, and then click on shop. And there you go. Okay. So I just dropped the link to my website. You'll just click on shop when you get there. But at the very least, and then there's glutagenics and GlutaClear is also on there and on the online store. So GlutaClear is your glutathione support, and then Immune Active would have N-acetylcysteine in it. There's so many products on there with N-acetylcysteine. If you guys have any questions or you need any guidance, you can, here, I'll just drop my email right here. You can email me through the website, or I just dropped my email there so I can answer any questions you have. So actually on a waiting list for an immunologist to get tested for toxic metals. Heck, Sarah, I could send you a heavy metal test tomorrow. It'll be there in a week. So lots of different ways to do that very simply. So yeah, and a lot of those tests can take, a couple, 3 weeks to to get back. So yeah, if I can be of any assistance for you, please let me know. That's why I'm here. So okay. It was a lot. I wasn't sure I was going to get all that out, but I wanted to get you the importance, wanted to really impact you and just impress upon you why it's so important to pay attention what's going on, because it is not isolated to this little tiny town. This is going to affect all of us and our offspring. So so check out Dr. Sana and check out my website. Again, if I can be of any assistance to you, please let me know. That's why I'm here. I want happy, healthy people in the world, and I appreciate all of you being here. So yeah, awesome, Sarah. I appreciate that. If I can help in any way, let me know. Okay, I think that's it. If you guys don't have any more questions, I'm going to peace out and go make dinner, make something good and healthy tonight. So you guys are amazing, and much love right back to you. Mwah. And I'll see you guys next Sunday. Okay. Have an amazing week. And thanks so much for being here. And I hope you found that valuable. Please make sure you're subscribing. Make sure you're sharing this information with people so we can get everybody happy and healthy. All right. See you guys. Love y'all. Thanks for being here.